Hey guys, it's Rob J here, just to let you know that this video is sponsored by Ant Keeping Depot. In my last video you saw me build this acrylic Wakushi size 4 Outworld. Well, in today's video we're going to team that up with a size 6 nest module from Wakushi also, but then we're going to move in my shiny sugar ants that are due for a size upgrade as they have fully outgrown their ant space setup that you'd have seen in their previous video. So this is the unit, the nest module itself. This actually has a companion unit which can click on the back and double its size, but I'm not new to this unit. My Nicobarensis colony has had this unit and the partner unit, so a laptop style setup, for well over a year or so now. So I'm very familiar with it and I'm very happy to move my ants into it, as I know it is all good and everything is safe. So as you can see here, it's all linked in with the Wakushi Connect system. So on the other side, I've got to work out how to get an ant space to click onto a Wakushi nest. Well, it won't. So I'm using an ant space tube adapter to a Wakushi tube adapter, and this is the best way I could come up with to move them in. So I'm going to put the new nest between the Outworld, so they've got to travel through it to get to the Outworld, and then I'm going to connect the nest up now, and I'm going to add some light on the old nest, and then everything in the Outworld, which was a considerable amount of ants, will be put in this Outworld. So you've got the nest and the Outworld separated by the new nest, so both sets of ants have got to travel through it. That will speed up things, but what will speed them up even more is by making the new one humid. More humid than I would generally do any other time. And make it dark as well. Then we're going to do the opposite for the crowded nest. I'm going to add some light, keep the red acrylic overlay off, and we will get some scurrying ants to find out what's been going on. It's not all about the light, they were just, moved, so the vibrations have disturbed them. So they're sort of like rushing out expecting some sort of fight, and instead have found a new nest module. Now this nest module looks massive in comparison to what they've got, but what they have right now, they've really jammed themselves into. There's like 4 layers of ants. There's like a layer upside down, a layer on either wall, and a layer underneath. So we should be able to fill it with some growing room. So this is their old Outworld, and the Outworld itself wasn't really the problem. Where you can see how many ants weren't in the nest, because it's so cramped in there. So with this many ants, I've just sellotaped a piece of cotton bud into a pair of tweezers so I don't have to keep it pressed. And now I'm just going to tap them with the cotton bud, and most ants naturally will react with grabbing onto it, even attacking it or just running on it. And only the really timid ones will actually run from it, but you can normally scoop them up. If you pinch off the cotton wood at the sides and stuff, you will be able to sort of snag the ants and get them into the new enclosure. Now, these ants, some of them, just leap off. They don't care. So I put the old Outworld above, so if they leap off, they actually were landing in the new Outworld anyway. But it didn't occur too much, they more leapt off before I got them out of the old Outworld. But this little transfer took about 15 minutes. Nothing too terrible, but I was pretty much doing 2 or 3 ants a run. One time I got quite lucky and had 10 or so, and I have actually PTFE'd about half of the tweezers so they can't come up to my hand. That is why it's sellotaped, because I can't hold it closed. So after a long time, I got them in, and then them ants quickly went into the empty nest and sort of started relaxing. The other nest is now under some blue light. It's an ultraviolet light, and they really don't like that. So the other nest is being agitated into moving, as well as I have now removed their heating, so they're lit up, they're uncovered, and they have no heat. And then you've got this brand new nest next door, super humid, and super dark, and eventually it will be warming up. It'll take quite a while for a heat cable to start doing it, but once it's there, it's a relatively easy job to maintain. So let's take a look at what's going on. Well, initially, the colony moved into the entire rim, so like the ring road of the nest, because the nest is made up of like a oval sort of ring road access port, and then 4 main chambers in the centre. So they moved into essentially the ring road around the edge, and then only as they started sensing the moisture and probably the heat, because the first unit that they moved into in the middle, so the first compartment in the middle, was in fact the heated one. But they need a lot of time, and here is the queen, as you can see her on the wall, and everybody has moved now and is still moving. And I think at this point, you know, I've been giving them sugar waters, they've even had a few fruit flies, and you know, things have calmed down. It is actually getting a lot more relaxed, and the footage just keeps on going. So I actually head to bed now, and to leave them to it. And I would have left my camera on, but without light you weren't going to see much. So what I'll do is I'll return in 12 hours and we'll see what happened. But as you can see, before I go, the brood, the young larvae, was moved over. Okay, 12 hours later, and the heat cable has done its job, and that mixed with the slightly larger amount of water for the initial soak and to tempt them to move in has caused some condensation. But this has happened in my other unit, and it clears up perfectly fine on its own, and I'm quite used to the amount of water to stop it happening again. But when I first hydrate a totally unhydrated block, I always get this when I first put the heating on. So I'm not overly worried, and as you can see, the ants aren't bothered either. So now you can see that this nest wasn't so much of a overkill. They have plenty of room to grow, but the chambers aren't empty. And I was quite comfortable with doing this, because this species hasn't created in-nest dump grounds, not once, even when they were in a large nest. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in my next one.